Good morning, everyone. It's another, of course, beautiful day in the land of enchantment here.
I can hardly wait.
So pleased and honored to have this amazing turnout from the community. I'm Dave Simon. I'm your Parks and Rec Director, and this is one of the days, of course, that brings joy to the community as a whole. And we're so excited to have reached this day, where we will celebrate the official opening of your San Antonio Oxbow Bluffs open space. Before we get started with the official remarks here, I just want to quickly thank our esteemed musicians and personal friends of mine, Chewy and Ote. Chewy's in back. Ote, they dress in pure white because their sound is pure, and they are such a deep members of this community too, and having them here at this occasion, I think it's entirely fitting, appropriate, and makes it even more special. So thank you guys for being here. Okay, without further ado, I just want to introduce a mayor who's probably been the strongest supporter of open space in the history of our city, Tim Keller.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Dave. And I have to laugh. You know, I think when you do, hopefully that's true, because after 3 terms, I better be. Yeah. But listen, a couple of things to share with everyone on this beautiful morning. First off, it is great to see all of you. I say that for a number of reasons. Number one is this project was birthed kind of during COVID. And a lot of people couldn't all come and celebrate. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but the fact that we are here together does make me remember this project was an incredible journey. And just to begin with, number one, you all always fought for this project. So thank you to every single advocate, neighbor, everyone. Round of applause. You made this happen. And as a few tiny folks know, once upon a time I used to run past Susie's house, actually, at the time, because there was nothing between here and St. Pius, where I went to high school. And for punishment, when we got caught partying, we had to run in the Mesa to Susie's house and back. And so, anyway, more stories there later. But anyway, so I was very familiar with this property because I always wondered, I was like, wow, what an awesome house. And, it was always that kind of thing that took my mind off how miserable I was running. And so this place, full circle, remember, it was going to be a housing development. Do y'all remember that? Right, I know. And they wouldn't sell, and there was all this stuff, and it was in the paper. And, the headline was, the bully mayor is pushing us around. I remember that op-ed well. And the irony is we wanted to protect this, right? But it also takes funding. And that's what we were always missing. And I do want to say, lightning struck when everyone got organized and also went to the Roundhouse and said, you know what? Between all the haggling that we were doing with the developer, we had to buy him out. I mean, he owned the land, or he owned whatever it was. And we also knew that the legacy of Susie is something we wanted to protect and so forth. So long story short is, all of a sudden, government did something that was great, and it was fast. And in one legislative session, boom, we got $5 million. And so I do want to acknowledge, I don't think he could make it today, but Senator Candelaria, and he's not your senator anymore, but he was, I just got to tell you, he was the miracle worker on this. Jacob Candelaria, and he just said, basically, he was like, well, I figured out a way to do this, so here's $5 million. And I was like, wow, so that was awesome. And then it was game on. We're doing this. And so we put everything here together, and I think enough about the history, but I did want to acknowledge that journey and Jacob's role. At the end of the day, that was an important component because we had to deal with the financial transaction, and then everyone could kind of walk away and we could do our thing. So that brings us to the idea of wonderfully, everyone was excited because we invested more open space in the West Side than we have in decades. And we were like, hey, this is going to be a great thing for the community. And then we sat and we waited and we waited and we waited. But we did it right. Dave and his team did the archaeological studies, they did the environmental, and they figured out a way to make this work in phases that also works with the land and that protects the ecosystem here that's bosky adjacent, and of course our trail system right over there. So that's why I also want to especially acknowledge Colleen's here, the entire open space team. So they really turn our values in many ways, our values about this place, about our culture, into a reality that we can also enjoy on a daily basis. And sometimes it takes a long time. They know I get frustrated with them and how long it takes. But they do it right. And that's what I really, really appreciate. And today is a good example of that. So this is now a place for gathering, a place for education, a place for families, a place to reflect a little bit on our culture and our history. And also just the natural beauty that we're so blessed to live in each and every day here in Albuquerque. But we want to make this a little bit of a place of reflection on other few specific notes in our community. And that's really what I'm going to close my remarks with talking about. And because we're honoring a couple of folks here today, and I'm going to start with just two. One is, of course, Dr. Joe Valles. So once upon a time when I was running for office, Dr. Joe had me over to his house. And I had known him a little bit before. And, I think most people, his family is here. A lot of you know Dr. Joe, just for some folks who didn't. Long time, decades and decades of neighborhood advocacy. And with a ferocity and a love that you rarely see combined. I think that's what I will never forget about Joe, because he fought so hard. But he also did it with a dash of professionalism and gentleness that made it politically possible, right? You can't just have somebody come and yell at you every day and then expect oh, great, they're gonna love me and do it, he was this powerful mix. He was also the smartest guy in the room. So if you were gonna argue zoning and code, forget about it. Joe wins. And so, I learned quickly to always listen first to Joe because he taught me. And as many folks know, but Joe has passed on a few years ago. But Joe played a huge role in this process. And I know the neighborhood leaders know this as well. But Joe was the one who said, he kept saying, we have to find a way to do this. And he also gave me space to say, here's how we can do it with all the different rules and regs. But also, I need your help to organize everyone to find a way to get money, because we got to buy the developer out. And that's that pragmatism part, right? At the end of the day, that's what we had to do. And he was wonderful in unifying everyone who knew him, everyone who participated in this process early, to say, okay, we have one shot, and it's at the legislature. And then, of course, we had our state senator that I talked about. And so he really spearheaded this in all sorts of ways that brought us together and kept us on a very narrow path. And we knew if we walked on that narrow path, we were going to get to the end. And he kept us on that path. And so I'm grateful for Joe. And that is also why we are honoring him and his family with a little commemoration. I think it's a subtle one, but nonetheless a powerful one. And it's a beautiful bench. You can see it right out there, those three benches. And it tells the story of Dr. Joe Valles. Thank you so much, Valles family. We've learned the key to any event where you want applause. We'd like to welcome that dog every time. It's great. It's great. Frankie is our helper with all applause lines. I love it. So the second family we want to acknowledge is, and it's a group of folks who were friends of course, Suzanne Poole, and helped in different ways in different parts of their lives and her life and the family's life throughout the Poole family's journey and her journey. And of course, she has her own legacy with respect to philanthropy and actually conservation. And so it's so fitting, actually, what now is this place, the fact that it used to be her home, because now it's a home in many ways for all of us to reflect on some of the things that she cared about so much. And we've been able to work with some of her family and friends who are here. And so I want to thank you all for working with us in the process, for being here today. So let's give the family a round of applause, family and friends. I know it's, in New Mexico, it's family's a lowercase word, and it's chosen and by birth. And so we really appreciate you being here today. And so in honor of her legacy and everyone who helped with this, the Ornos out there, we kept those. And there's now an awesome commemorative plaque that talks about her legacy and what this place, her home that it used to be. And so, again, wonderful touches on this property to reflect on two people who really made this place possible for the rest of us. So with that, actually, we have lots to kind of go over on this. This is a little bit longer event than normal, but it's because it's a big deal. I think it's been, other than maybe the Tejeras open space project that we're working on, we kind of have two, ones at the other end of Central. But between these two projects, these are some of the biggest projects our city's undertaken in decades. So we are going to take our time with this. So I'm going to hand it over to others, but just give you a heads up after. We're going to do some unveilings and a ribbon cutting. So we'll tell you more, but we'll get to that at the end. In the meantime, we have to introduce the founding father of all things open space. Because that's actually kind of true, literally. He was the first for pretty much anything you can think of when it comes to open space. And he's going to outline some history and other pieces for us today. So please welcome up to the podium the legendary Rex Funk.
Well, rarely have I been accused of being speechless, but that was quite an introduction. I'd like to start with a couple of quotes. The first one is from Margaret Mead, and I'm sure you've heard it. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, that it's the only thing that ever has. And here we're sitting at a place where that's true of back to the 70s. Small groups of people have gotten together to protect this land, protect the Oxbow in the face of some real onslaughts. Also, they've prevailed on their elected leaders, and I want to give a shout out to Mayor Keller and to all the elected leaders who are here, who listened to the voice of the people and formed a small group to get things done. And you just heard of one instance of it. There are many others too. The Elena Gallegos grant over on the other side of the city and so on. All of those things are a result of elected officials listening to their constituents and making things happen, sometimes in the face of great adversity. So that's one of the quotes. The other quote is from Aldo Leopold, a little more organic. Education, I fear, is learning to see one thing by going blind to another. One thing most of us have gone blind to is the quality of marshes. The Oxbow, when I first was introduced to it, when I moved here in 1969, I was a science teacher at West Mesa High School, was the last cattail marsh in Bernalillo County, 37 acres. In the process of the Rio Grande project, the Corps of Engineers and Bureau of Reclamation eliminated 25,000 acres of cattail marsh along the river. And this was the last vestige we had in Bernalillo County. And it was an artificial one. And I want to tell you a little bit about that too. When Susie and Rufus Poole bought and built their house here on the bluff, they noticed there was a bit of a problem. The Rio Grande was actually running through where the Oxbow is now. It was actually running through the base of those cliffs there, and it was eating away at their property. So Rufus Poole, being a member of the Modrel firm, he was an attorney, was very well connected with both state and national leaders, managed to get the river moved. Can you imagine that? The Corps of Engineers was prevailed upon to move the river to its current channel out of the Oxbow, and that saved Rufus Poole the accretion of lands that he was undergoing. At the same time, he gained about 8 acres of land in the bottom of the river just by the accretion doctrine. So he made out pretty well on that. And in the process, the Corrales drain, which runs down clear from the north side of Corrales down here, emptied out into the river at the time, but then when the river was moved, it emptied out into the Oxbow. And this was a terrible thing, according to the state engineer and the Conservancy District, because marshes, as we all know, are a non-beneficial use of water, right? We all know that, yeah. But anyway, that was back then, and this is now, and you know, the reaction I'm getting here shows me that there's been a huge paradigm shift in the way we treat the river and the way we value it. Before, it was just a plaything for engineers and something to fear because it was going to flood you. And we had to worry about that and where were we going to get the water and all the rest of that stuff. But now we're valuing the natural habitat. And the Oxbow is a case study in how that paradigm shifted over the years. And the battles that were fought in the Oxbow all during the 70s and so on changed people's minds about the river and about the value of wildlife habitat and also recreational use of the river. I want to commend you to an ebook which is online, which is written by Matt Schmader and myself. It's called A Blank Spot on the Map, and it's on the city's open space website. You can go to the City of Albuquerque Open Space website, look for history of open space, and then follow that to the blank spot on the map. It's a 10-chapter book that discusses some of the early wins we had and some of the early problems we had and some of the people that really made things happen in open space. So it's really worth looking at. Chapter 4 deals exclusively with the Oxbow. And I'm going to tell you a little bit. I don't have time to really go through the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the initial skirmishes we had and kind of allude to that. So as I mentioned, I got here in 1969, and I was interested in starting a nature center because I had worked with one in California where I came from. And so I helped a group form a group called the Bosque del Rio Grande Nature Preserve Society, which we shortened to Bosque Society. And the Bosque Society was advocating for a nature preserve and nature center along the river. I also found out about this cattail marsh because I taught about 5 miles south here at West Mesa High School, and was very impressed by it and thought it really was worth preserving and really was interested. I got a call from Ed Swenson, who was a biologist with the Soil Conservation Service, and he was very simpatico with our efforts with the Bosque Society. And he said, I just heard that the Bosque, the flow of the river, the Bosque, or the water to the Bosque had been diverted, and the Bosque, or the Oxbow has been dried out. And so I was kind of alarmed, and he and I went down and took a look at it, and sure enough, they had put a dam across the Corrales Drain and shot the water out to the river, and the Oxbow was drying out. There were a lot of dead critters there and everything else. So we, under his auspices, him being a Fed and the rest of it, he got together the Middle Atlantic Conservancy District and the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, and we had a meeting. And they explained to us that they were trying to dry this Oxbow out so that they could extend the Corrales Drain down to the Atrisco Drain and connect the two drains and salvage a bunch of water. They thought they could salvage 5,000 acre feet of water a year. And we pointed out that this would destroy the marsh, and they said, non-beneficial use, right? So anyway, so Ed Swenson pointed out, have you guys read the Clean Water Act, and specifically Section 404 of the Clean Water Act that says you cannot displace a cubic meter of, or cubic yard of earth in a navigable channel without a Section 404 permit from the Corps of Engineers? Sounds like a big deal, right? But anyway, these guys were under the pall of bureaucracy all of a sudden, and they kind of gulped and said, yeah, well, we just kind of, this is maintenance. And he said, no, this isn't maintenance. And so he said, look, we want to be real rational about this. We want to really do the job here, and we want to get things done. But if you deny us this, we're going to fight your butts to the wall. And that's literally what he said, and that's literally what I remember. So here we are in this meeting, and they finally gave us approval to install a 14-inch culvert in that dam that they built so that we could rewater the Oxbow. And so we considered that quite a victory. But it turned out that was only a skirmish. That was just the first part of it. And to read the rest of it, go to blank spot on the map on the city's open space website, and you can read about the real battle for the Oxbow, which took place in 1976 during the bicentennial of the United States. And here we are in 2050, and we're also celebrating another centennial. So I guess what I want to say is the Oxbow is still under threat, and there's some marked threats that are happening. One of the first that I can think of right now, and it's in the headlines all the time, is the attack on the very laws that have supported and made the Oxbow possible. The Clean Water Act and the Endangered Species Act and several others are under attack right now in Washington, D.C. by the administration and some members of Congress. And the outcome of that, I think, will decide not only the fate of the Oxbow, but of many other wetlands around the country. So I think it's worth getting involved and really supporting people who are opposed to that and who are willing to extend protections for these lands and waters. The second threat that I see for the Oxbow is climate change writ large. Right now, due to circumstances around the Corrales Drain, the siphon for the Corrales Drain collapsed, and they're building a new siphon now. In the interim, they've been pumping water from the river with large electric pumps. This is a conservancy district to restore water, but unfortunately, there's not enough water in the river now for those pumps to pick up. And so we're in big trouble as far as the immediate supply of water to the drain. Also, as Mayor Keller has said, the projections for climate and moisture in this part of the country are pretty low right now, maybe 50% of what we've had in the past. So we're all having to decide what to do with the water and whether or not we're going to have enough water to protect wildlife habitat as well as the population we have now. And it's a big job. It's going to require probably a lot of those thoughtful, committed citizen groups to really bring this about. And I'd like to close by saying what I've often said to people who ask me, is this always going to be here? Are we always going to have this march? Are we always going to have this open space? And I always say the price of democracy is eternal vigilance, and it's the price of open space too. It gives me great pleasure and a great feeling to see you all here today. Not only the number of people who are here, but the age stratification we have. We have younger people, we have old-timers like myself, we have everybody pulling together across generations for the same purpose, because we love this place and we want to protect it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Rex. What we're going to do, I know it is also hot, and I'm glad you all are in the shade. We're cooking up here. Rex was smart enough to wear a hat. So we do want to give just a quick moment for our representative from the area, Representative Garola. Come on up. Thank you, Representative. Please give her a round of applause.
Truly a beautiful day here in the West Side, right? It is an honor for me to be here. 4 years ago, when I started working with the legislature as a legislator, and all the capital outlay projects come to us, hundreds of projects come to us. And it's interesting because I've been living the west side for a long time, and there are places that I didn't know. And I said, do we have an open space on the west side? What do you mean? I don't even have a park next to my house. So, and I started researching about areas like this one, and it became one of my priorities. I wish I could have the capital outlay to fund the whole project. So I had to thank Mayor Keller here for his advocacy, City Council, the Bernalillo County, Barbara Baca, who is here, the other legislators like Senator Pope, who is here too, who helped to fund this project. Our contribution is small, but it makes me feel so proud to be here with all of you. I have walked with the neighbors around this area, and I know how important this project is for all of us. And we can brag about this place now. It has been a long, long time coming, and a community effort, not just the people who has some kind of influence and means to do it, but also the neighbors for advocating and for pushing on this. Commissioner Baca just mentioned it to me. This is a jewel in our west side, and it's true. This is one of the best places to celebrate now that we have on the west side. And this is what I feel. Hopefully it's not the last one, right? Now that we started with something like this, let's continue doing something, continue building on places like that. We need housing, we need projects, but we need also to protect our open spaces. That's also mental health for all of us, right? So thank you for all the neighbors, for all the community advocates, for all the officials who work on this project. I'm proud to be part of the West Side. I can't wait to be here walking when it's not this much of the sun, of course, but I can't wait to be here, and I can't wait to continue working with the community and projects like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative. And we do have a number of elected officials here, and if you really want to get hot and sweat for hours, we could have all of them speak. Yes, it was decided by the department to have a few, but I want to acknowledge the other ones that are here. And she mentioned a few, but Senator Harold Pope, your state senator, give him a round of applause and a wave. Your county commissioner, and they had a little $100,000 that was really helpful to kind of finish this out. So Commissioner Barbara Baca. And I see Joe Noriega from now Senator Mo Maestas' district as well. Okay, and then so we do want to hear just from the city council perspective, and in a wonderful irony, you know, when I came in, I got to cut a few ribbons, and you know, it was everyone else's work. And I say that because you have an awesome new city councilor. And so she is certainly here to represent and support in the future. And so we want to enroll her. We want you all to meet her. And so she's going to be our champion going forward. So please welcome Councilor Stephanie Tillis.
Thank you, Mayor Keller. Thank you, everyone, for being here. You know, before I was your city councilor, I was just your neighbor. And I was part of the group that really worked to protect this property and engage in these conversations. I've been part of my own neighborhood association for 9 years. So being part of the larger effort and now being here to welcome everybody to the ribbon cutting and just acknowledging all the folks who did the work, really, especially my predecessors, you know, Councilors Sanchez and Sena and Sanchez. So thank you for that, and thank you to our legislators. But there's only one thing I really, really want to say about this in particular and how critical open spaces are. You know, I have an autoimmune disease, right? I have rheumatoid arthritis, and it's hard for me to get around sometimes. And having spaces like this that are accessible by design and not just accommodation so that everyone can really enjoy this is so, so important. And just the role that nature and open space has in healing makes such a difference for folks. And so I understand that in a very intimate way. You know, I started working in New Mexico, I guess, politics and all this stuff when I was 14 years old. I worked for Shirley Baca, way down south. I don't know if you guys remember Shirley. But Shirley introduced me to so many things, and mainly the role of conservation. And you know, after I worked for Shirley, I had the great pleasure and the great honor to work for Senator Udall. And through Senator Udall, I was introduced, of course, to Stuart Udall, who is one of the major pioneers of conservation efforts in our country as our, you know, former Secretary of Interior, but also just doing so many things in New Mexico and in the Southwest, and his connections to the land, and Aldo Leopold, which Rex mentioned here. And thanks, Rex, by the way. I want to mention, never underestimate the power of nerds and accountability and oversight and finding the things that will get people, you know, in compliance, right? So thank you for that. But I just want to end by saying, you know, a quick little quote from, you know, Secretary Stuart Udall, when he said, you know, plans to protect air and water and wilderness and wildlife are, in fact, plans to protect man. And so I think that's what we did here, and I'm very just honored to be a small part of it, and thank you to all of you who really did the work.
Okay, we are going to, before we get to our ribbon cutting, we're going to wrap up with he's a dog with a bone. Let me tell you, our Parks and Rec director, he has done all over this city is some landmark things that we've wanted for decades. And so this is a giant piece of why he is still in this job and why he has signed up for it in the first place. Because this guy does not quit on what he wants to help with open space and with our Parks and Rec. So welcome, the guy spearheading it all, our Director of Parks and Rec, Dave Simon.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I think we all know from the history and the present how much of a team it really takes to get big things done. So, but thank you very much for that, because it's an honor to work for our community, and that's what brings me joy. So I think you know that we're standing in a very ecologically significant area along the Rio Grande. Thank you, Rex, for reminding us of the history, and it's sort of the important upland shrub, desert grassland and shrub habitat here that connects to the wetland below us that really completes the picture here. We have over 150 bird species that have been documented in this area, and so it's a significant place. And the phase one improvements are what we've completed here that we're celebrating, and they kind of make the site obviously more accessible while preserving its natural character. And this wouldn't have occurred, of course, as the mayor mentioned, if we hadn't taken some time to do it correctly. But I'm very proud of how we did it, because the outcomes, I think, are a lot closer to like the model that we should use. And the project was really shaped through extensive community input and engagement. And that is kind of the secret, I think, to great outcomes. And the open space staff, of course, in particular, has worked very hard over the last few years to translate those public concerns and desires, you know, into these improvements, into a publicly accessible place that also protects the habitat. So, you know, the open space staff, I think, really deserves a huge amount of credit for why we're here today. Everyone on our team there really helped with the development of the plan, the implementation of the plan for the property. Our maintenance crew saved considerable money in this project by helping with major cleanup efforts here. That took a long time. And all the final touches, they installed all the signs, the benches, the fencing. Our education staff handled the interpretive signs. Our visitor services team constructed the Suzanne Poole Nature Trail, which I hope all of you get a chance to walk on, not today, some point in the future, and helping to clean up the property. So really a big team effort. But I want to just get a couple people up here real quick, if you don't mind. So Colleen, why don't you come up here real fast? And also, I want to recognize Adriana Villalpando. Adrian, why don't you come up? So You know, these two, that's right. Don't cry. All right. It's actually, it's okay. So, you know, these two really led the successful effort, and to get the plan underway, to get the plan approved. We have a lot of city processes that you have to go through, handle the permitting, and then move the project through to construction. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Adri, your family's here today.
Yeah, they're in the back there.
There they are. So, and Ricardo, I don't know, where's Ricardo? There's Ricardo. It's Ricardo and Eduardo. I don't know, he's hopefully here too. But just so you know, this is what your daughter does for a living. So thank you very much. And we have many, many other people that should be recognized for their contributions. I want to thank our ever-present and supportive Open Space Alliance for donating key funds for some of the benches, including Joe's bench and some of the artwork. You know, I want to recognize one of our great partners over the years, the Bosque School. They were very involved in citizen science here and student-led research, and they also help with kind of getting the interpretive materials correct. And I'm just super excited to announce today that the Bosque School has agreed to host student-led tours and public programs here monthly starting in August. So, and Dan Shaw, who's been a key faculty member at Bosque and a leader in the BENT program, is here today. Thank you, Dan. There's Dan right there. He's sporting his Bobcat gear. But you know, I'm repetitive a lot about saying that our parks, all of our parks in our open space system, it's really, they're all components of the largest university that we actually have in New Mexico or in our city. And when you connect learning with parks and open space, that's what we're talking about. So thank you guys. I want to recognize our other partners, the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Authority, the New Mexico Bird Alliance, the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center, the Office of Equity Inclusion. They all played a nice role in helping us with various parts of the projects. And then last but not least, our contractors who helped us prepare the plan, Anthropolis. So they're a great team themselves. The folks who played a huge role in this one, I know some of them are at least two. I saw two of the three of them are here today, but Amy Bell, Richard Purse, and Ted Weber. So are you guys standing together? Where are you? Well, there they are. Okay. Raise your hand, Ted. Good job. They all just did a super job getting this project also through to construction. And we had Accent Construction, who's one of our stalwart partners at the city, did all the work we asked them to do on a great schedule. So thank you to all of you. I think that, you know, what this obviously represents is now the visitors can enjoy these trails. We have ADA accessible pathways. We have great educational signage here. We have an outdoor classroom that's even going to get a few more little bells and whistles. And the cost of phase one was about, and it's important because you all talk about money, this phase did cost about $1.1 million, even with all the work we did in-house. And there is a phase two that we need to implement here. If you haven't seen the plan, please look. It's on display under the open space tents. And, you know, we need to stay the course and finish the job. And for those of you who've already been involved, thank you again. For those of you who may want to get involved, we welcome that. We have an infinite need for volunteers to help us across the open space system. And right here is going to be an incredible place for volunteers to help us. And you can go right over and sign up to be an open space volunteer. Just talk to the staff under the tent. So we got a lot done and we got a lot to do. And we're grateful for all the work that you've helped us achieve and the work we will do together. This project really does reflect, you know, a great commitment to conservation, stewardship, and outdoor recreation and education. And we're so excited to welcome the public to experience and be inspired by this great place. So thank you very much. All right, now, the logistics, very quickly. The mayor's going to take over here, but I just want to say, following the remaining little actions, to cut ribbons. We're going to have walking tours of the site. So those of you who want to go with Open Space staff will meet by the tents. And those of you who want to stay and enjoy the music and the refreshments, please do that. Oh, we're going to have a toast, I guess, too. All right, that sounds good. It's noon somewhere.
Non-alcoholic.
Yeah. But before we do that, we have, of course, a couple special things we want to do with your help. It is going to require some moving as a group. So, Mayor, direct us.
All right, so what we're going to do, going back to where I started, which was stories no one wants to hear about when I was quarterback in high school, we're going to run 2 plays, okay? And I need your help to do this. 2 plays, just like in football. So the first, and what this has to do is we have to get in position for ribbon cutting where we're in the sun just for a minute, because like then the camera can see your faces. And then we have a surprise unveiling that is a big deal. And so we need you, that's the second play. Okay, so first play, don't go yet. We're gonna wait till we break the huddle. So we're just in the huddle together. So we're in the huddle together. First play is we're gonna stand up and you're gonna move to the sun and you're gonna stand facing west. No, because the camera's got to be on. Yeah, I got this. Got it. Okay, you're gonna. It's counterintuitive, but you're gonna face west. The second play is you're gonna turn around and face east. So, but the key is everyone needs to get up and stand behind where those cameras are in the sun. Cameras, you have to move back. All right. Okay, ready, break. Okay, and then here's the ribbon. Neighborhood folks, open space. Anyone who wants help cut the ribbon? Children, it's always fun if you got kids. Everyone wants a good ribbon. I'm gonna hold this up. So kids, come around here. You grab people. I got the scissors.
Okay.
Okay, I do want to ask Susan Shedmar, I think I saw her.
And there's
Susan, please come up. These are neighborhood leaders playing a huge role. Renee Horvath, I saw her. And Tom Gully, Ken Churchill, we'd love you to be in the front with us if you're up for it. And any other kids who want to come up really quick? Of course, elected officials, weave your way up. This way. Okay. When they start. So, Dave, do we see? Who do you want to hold the scissors? Which side? Could be Colleen, whatever you want.
Adrian, come on.
Where's Adrian?
Yeah,
Adrian's right
I'd
there.
love for you to be in the Susan.
One of you and Adrian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Susan, you should take a picture.
Stay put, and then play number 2. Just stay put, and we'll do the second play.
Yeah. Okay, Susan, why don't you come grab the scissors here? It's fun and festive. I'll put your hands on it. Okay, now we're gonna do a countdown from 3 backwards, like snap count. 3, 2, 1.
Yay!
All right. Okay, Dave, you get in position. Okay, so now we're all gonna look at the green pole.